Hello students, welcome to class PM. We are discussing sorting materials into groups. In the last class, we have discussed about the different properties of the materials which will classify the elements into different groups. Like we have discussed the appearance and also we have discussed oddness. In today's class, we are going to study another property, that is solubility. Based on solubility, we can classify the materials into two types. Based on solubility, we can classify the materials into two groups, that is soluble materials and some are insoluble materials. The solubility here we are considering for the water. So the materials which will soluble in the water can be dissolved in the water. Okay, materials which can be dissolved in water are soluble materials. For example, for this you can take salt, which is soluble in water, and sugar, glucose, lemon juice. So these are all the materials which are soluble in water. That's why these are soluble materials. Insoluble. So the materials which cannot be dissolved. These are cannot be dissolved in water. So they are called insoluble materials. For example, for insoluble materials, you take sand, take chalk powder, wheat flour. So such are some of the substances which are insoluble in water. And also you can take example here, insoluble kerosene and coconut oil. Like all the oils, mustard oil, coconut oil, okay, sunflower oil, all these oils which are not soluble in water, they form a layer over the water. That's why these are insoluble materials for the water. These are soluble materials for the water. But when you take other, like if I take kerosene, if kerosene I have taken as solvent, can I dissolve this sugar, salt in the kerosene? Sugar and salt cannot be dissolved in the kerosene. For kerosene, sugar and salt are the insoluble. For kerosene, sugar and salt are insoluble. But in the kerosene, naphthalene balls, the balls which are in white color and we'll use in the our cupboards to repel the cockroaches, other insects. Okay, the white color, they give different odor, so we'll also use in our toilets also, okay, to remove the bad odor. So those are the naphthalene balls, white color and different colors it is available. So these naphthalene balls are soluble in kerosene, but sugar and salt are insoluble in kerosene. But when it comes to the water, in the water sugar and salt are soluble. But naphthalene is insoluble. So here, based on solubility, we are classifying the materials into two groups, that is soluble materials and insoluble materials, okay, in the point of view of water. So all the materials which can be dissolved in water are soluble materials for water. The materials which are not dissolved in the water are insoluble materials for the water. But there are some other solvents in which you cannot dissolve sugar and salt, like kerosene. In the kerosene we cannot dissolve sugar and salt. That's why sugar and salt are the insoluble materials for kerosene. And naphthalene is a soluble material for kerosene. So out of this, what you can see is there is one proverb, that is like dissolve like, which means naphthalene and kerosene both are likes, both are same kind of materials, because this is a non-polar solute, this is also non-polar substance. So non-polar are dissolving, like dissolves like. So naphthalene is a non-polar and kerosene is also non-polar. What is non-polar? These are all things we will discuss in higher classes. We will learn in the higher classes. Non-polar means which do not form ions. Okay. So they belongs to same category. Here you have to remember only one thing, these two belongs to one category called non-polar, and these two belongs to one category, that is polar. So polar substances dissolves in the polar solvents, non-polar substances dissolves in the non-polar solvent, that is likes dissolves like, likes dissolve like, that's what. So same type of material. So based on this we can again classify the materials into non-polar substance materials, polar materials. So non-polar substances dissolves in the non-polar solvents, polar substances dissolves in the polar solvents. So this is a way we can classify, again sort the materials into group based on solubility.